Jazz Forward is a new live music agency. Established musicians and multi-instrumentalists Marianne McGregor, Malcolm MacFarlane and Sophie Bancroft, along with music journalist Fiona McTaggart, have come together to showcase some of the exciting original music and diverse musical talent to be found in Scottish jazz. Jazz Forward is funded by Creative Scotland. Episode 7. How do you develop your improvisation and songwriting?
Well, I heard a great phrase which recently, I can't remember who said it, but it was great because as you know, I'm not in the first flush of youth anymore. So that phrase is, I used to practice to get better, but now I practice not to get any worse.
Brilliant.
So that's kind of where I'm at. No, but there's always something new to practice. You know,
Yeah.
you just need to. For me, you just need to sit down. Like I had to go out today, but before I did, I just sat down with the guitar for half an hour and just discovered a whole lot of other stuff that I don't know. You know, so
Yeah.
there's always more stuff to add on and get in there and just try and get it so it's there as a resource when you improvise, you know, and that kind of thing, or write or whatever. So
I think it's one of the interesting things about teaching a wide range of people, as well as you can realise what you need to shore up in yourself at times.
Yeah.
When you're trying to explain it, kind of.
Well, that was the first thing I remember learning about teaching. Is that I've got to actually put this into words so that other people understand it. I kind of know, I think, what I'm talking about to myself, but so that's good, you know, coming up with explanations and concepts and all the rest of it. So.
Now has a beginning, middle and an end.
What about you as a singer then? I mean, is it a different kind of discipline to an instrumentalist, or a similar kind of thing?
Well, it's interesting because you've got the physical aging that goes on, which I think is more impacttive probably in voice than any other instrument,
right?
I would imagine.
Yeah.
So there's things that get less, and there's things then, and there's new things to find. There's things that you can't do so easily, and there's things that you hadn't been able to do before. And I think I'm, in a way, I feel lucky that I'm a songwriter because I think I challenge myself vocally by the melodies I write.
Right.
Whereas I think if I wasn't doing that, I think it would be quite easy to stay in certain ruts of melodies that sit easily in your instrument and don't challenge you physically, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think because of writing, I'm aware that, you know, I'm aware that I might write something and then I have to really learn technically how to sing it because it's not necessarily easy.
Yeah, well,
physically.
That's really interesting because so you write in a way that what you write is trying to be the best vehicle to get the song across.
Exactly,
and
yeah.
That's outside
expression.
your vocal comfort zone. You just have to kind of push yourself.
Yeah. And so that's great for pushing me.
Yeah, that's
and I think also then that leads to, because I think often as songwriters you can get that sort of individual harmonic signature, can't you? Which then means you're working a lot of similar intervals all the time. So I'm trying to keep that open to some degree, and then that impacts on standards that I might choose to sing and contemporary covers that I might choose to put into my repertoire. You know, that pushing. So it's that physical.
Yeah.
The physical journey. Yeah, it's interesting. So then, therefore, each song gives you a different technical workout, and then you have to go and. I mean, I love creating new exercises, which sounds like you do as well. You know, to work on the bits that are not working the way I want them to.
And does some of this stuff come about through being inspired by, like, listening to new artists or rediscovering old artists, or
both? I think.
Right.
Yeah, both.
So
I mean, I think that the more you, the more you progress individually, the more you hear in other people, don't you?
Yeah, that's true.
The deeper you hear. And it's like, how are they doing that? So do you have a earliest musical memory or musical experience? I mean, you talked about the brilliant school you were at. Do you have a musical memory or anything?
I think it's the Beatles. You know, I think it's maybe seeing the Beatles on television, and it's certainly hearing. I must have heard the Beatles on the radio because we used to run about our outside, you know, kind of singing Beatles songs and screaming at the top of our heads, "She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah," and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah. Well, funnily enough, it's that the Beatles are also one of my earliest ones, because my mum's favourite album was Sgt. Pepper, and when I was probably about 3 or 4, whenever She's Leaving Home came on, I would start crying. So that was the first time I subconsciously realised that music could move you in that way. And I've never ever forgotten that, ever.
Yeah. It's incredible though, isn't it? Because it's just how, because I mean, I'm obviously a huge fan of the Beatles, but can continue to be a huge fan of the Beatles, but it's amazing how sound can affect you like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it can just connect, and you maybe don't know exactly what it is, either musically or lyrically or instrumentally, but it does. Yeah, there's certain songs that just do that, and they just hit you.
No, it's extraordinary. And I mean, looking back on that song, you know, the story was so profoundly moving and sad, and the use of instrumentation and the lyric, you know, every factor of it was just extraordinary.
Yeah,
they're amazing.
Yeah, because they kind of threw everything at every song, didn't they? It was like it was nothing, no motivation other than how can we make the song the best version of what we're trying to get across, you know.
And it was very much, what does the song need, wasn't it?
Yeah, and
rather than what do the Beatles do? It's like, what does the song need?
Yeah, no,
they're extraordinary masterclasses I mean, so many masterclasses just from listening to them, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
it's interesting. It's interesting that she was Beatles as well.
Yeah, well, I was lucky enough to see McCartney, obviously just McCartney, not the Beatles, but at Glastonbury when I played there. We played late afternoon, and he was playing it on the main stage in the evening, and it was incredible. I mean, it was totally incredible to hear, because you know he was much younger. It was 2004. So he was much younger then, and still, you know, singing really well, and just great song after great song, you know.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, it really was extraordinary. You know, I mean, obviously I'm a fan, so you didn't have to win me over and that, but it was incredible to hear just, you know, this parade of genius, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great that you had that experience, seeing him. I was lucky enough to see Frank Sinatra live not long before he died, and that was also extraordinary. He was just such a performer.
Yeah.
Even though he had little voice left, he just was extraordinary.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
I imagine his stage presence was...
it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, these people just... You realise why they have earned so much money. Because it's just extraordinary, isn't it? It's just extraordinary stuff. And get ready for a brighter day. Take all your pain, throw it away. Don't be jealous when others slay. Just get ready for a brighter day. So how do you progress? What is your way of developing your improvising or your songwriting or your vocal technique? What kind of things do you do?
Well, I don't know about for you, but for me, when I have a super busy week, I don't really ever have time or feel the need to practice because I've been singing all day or all night already. So the part of it for me now is just on the gig. Like I'm thinking more and more about how I could be better and analysing more. And then when I do have the time, I'll sit at the piano and just do kind of warm-ups, endless amounts of vocal tricks, because that's another thing I do, is like kind of lots of twiddly bits, and I use my voice in various weird ways. So I'll sit and work through that kind of stuff, and also just getting together with people to have a jam quite often.
Yeah.
Because I think that where I'm at now, I'm learning more from the people that I'm working with.
Right, that's brilliant.
I'm getting kind of offers to work with these amazing, amazing players, and it's nice. Like, I'm back to feeling like I'm being kept on my toes.
Yeah.
And I'd lost that a little bit from just progress, and not that I think I know everything, but I'm back at a place where I'm constantly learning and always listening. So it's nice.
No, that's great. That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel the change happening as you.
Yeah, totally. I think, especially when you're playing with amazing instrumentalists, and it's not just playing the standard as it's written anymore. You're going so far away from it, and then you're trying to be a band leader and trying to not let it show that you don't know what the hell's going on.
There's an element of acting, isn't there?
Yeah. But I think
of looking very cool and controlled on the outside.
A lot of people like the fact that I'm just giggling and being like, I don't even know where we are. Well, that's a good thing about being an improviser, is you can just sneak back in.
Yeah, and get out of the sticky situations.
Out of the woods. Yeah.
This podcast features excerpts of music written by Sophie Bancroft, Malcolm MacFarlane and Marianne McGregor. You can find more information about Jazz Forward at jazzforward.scot.